Hi there Star Wars collectors, welcome to another Bossk's Bounty video and welcome to episode 30 of Ask Bossk's Bounty. This is the weekly series that drops every Sunday and it gives you guys the chance to ask me questions in the comments section below, and each week I do my very best to answer them. It's a lot of fun. As I said, this is week 30 or episode 30. We've been going 30 weeks. I love doing this series and I'm glad you guys enjoy it too. So let me know if you continue to like this series by dropping a like down below. Subscribe if you're new to the channel, of course, and we'll get straight on to the first question. Purple Yoda says, thanks Tim, you've lifted my spirits over the last couple of months, so thank you. Thank you very much, Purple Yoda, I do appreciate that. Happy birthday to Mini Bossk. So if anybody didn't know, it was actually my son's 7th birthday a couple of days ago and he had a great day. I'll just throw up a picture now of his Star Wars haul. He's an absolute Star Wars nut. He's been on a few of my videos and what have you. And as you can see, he did very well indeed. So here's Purple Yoda's question. My question, where's the best place to source pre-owned vintage carded figures other than eBay? So there's a couple of places and mainly they're on trusted Facebook groups. So I'll list a few of them now that I am a member of essentially. So you've got Echo Base Vintage and Echo Base Modern for that matter as well. Both of those in the UK anyway. They do have people that ship abroad, so you don't need to worry about that if you're in the US. There's also people that are based in the US that sell on those pages as well. And those two are a great source for both vintage and modern Star Wars. You get lots of loose figures, lots of carded figures. You've also got a Facebook group called Dark Side Alliance, which is run by two guys called Gaz and Terry. They are the only two people that post on that group, so it's not like a free-for-all, but they get loads and loads of stock in. And this is where I recently just picked up my most recent purchase of a Bespin, near mint Bespin Han Solo and a Prune Face. I was very happy with those two for my loose collection. This one here, the Han Solo in trench coat on the Tri-Logo card. This one was actually purchased on Yubnub Toys. A guy called Tom. He often does live auctions on either YouTube or Facebook, but he does have a Facebook group page where he sells stuff as well. So those are kind of the three that I use the most. There are others out there. Let me know in the comments down below if you know of any decent Facebook groups. But obviously the people that sell on there are pretty trusted. They've been on there a long time. And obviously they're collectors themselves. So usually the stuff that's on sale is of very high quality and described correctly and all those kinds of things. So those are the ones that I'd recommend. Airbocker says, hi Bossk, love your videos. Thank you very much, my friend. Question, why hasn't there been any battle packs based on the 3 newest movies? One I would like to see is Snoke's throne room fight scene battle pack as an example. Thanks. So I think the most obvious reason is because the 3 3/4 line is essentially exclusive now to the Vintage Collection, which don't unfortunately do battle packs. Obviously we have the occasional 3 packs and things like that, but the traditional battle packs that we used to get from the 30th anniversary, I think it was, and the Legacy line and that sort of thing, those days are gone, I'm afraid, and we just don't see those anymore. I would love them to come back. Evolution lines, things like that, battle packs where you get loads of clones. As you mentioned there, the Snoke's throne room fight scene where you get lots of different Praetorian guards, if that's what you're into. Those are the sorts of things that I would love to see, but obviously we are limited to the Vintage Collection only at the moment in 3 3/4. That doesn't seem to be changing anytime soon, so that's the reason. Marky D says, hi Bossk, I recently started watching Star Wars Rebels and it occurred to me I don't think we have any of the characters have made it to the Vintage Collection line. With all the characters out there we'd still like to see in the line, do you think Hasbro will ever branch out and give us the core characters from Rebels? I certainly hope so. I am surprised that we haven't had one yet in the Vintage Collection, considering they have done Clone Wars characters in the past. The thing that I'm wondering is that the ones that have come into the Vintage Collection have been made into like a realistic style. So they've taken the animated character and they've made him into a realistic figure, if you like. So that might be why they haven't done that. Obviously, we've just had the Black Series announced with the new boxes and you can get the whole of the Rebels crew now, which do look very nice. And they've updated the face deco and they've made them look a bit more realistic, less cartoony. I would absolutely love them to do that in the Vintage Collection. And I think it's about times we did have a Rebels character in the Vintage Collection. So yeah. Bob B wants to know, do you think that Hasbro should have made the first 12 Star Wars figures for the Retro Collection instead of just moving on to the Empire Strikes Back wave? Yes, I think they probably should. I think there's possibly a couple of reasons why they didn't do that. The first reason is that The first 6 figures that came out were kind of like a litmus test. They were an exclusive, and it was a kind of like, are these going to sell? Are they not? I think they might have been a little bit surprised about how popular they actually were, especially with the collecting community. I think they thought they were just going to be this thing that was on the shelf, and the casual fan sort of thought, oh, I remember that from back in the day. I'm just going to pick one of those up. I used to have one of those when I was a kid, sort of thing. But the collectors went mental for them as well. And then I think basically they weren't prepared for that. And then this year came along, and because it's the 40th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back, they moved on to The Empire Strikes Back wave. Another thing is, I do believe, is they're probably avoiding the droid figures. So they're avoiding doing C-3PO and R2-D2, purely because those original vintage Kenner figures used vac metal for the chrome, if you like. So, and I don't think Hasbro really does that anymore. That could be another reason why they went on to The Empire Strikes Back, and one of the reasons why we haven't seen one of the droids in that line yet. Jared Cantor says, hi Bossk, asked this question during the last live stream, but I don't think you answered, at least when I was present. So my question, would it be possible to release an audio podcast of those long live stream shows? The content is great, but it's hard to find that much time to watch a video these days. Thanks. I'm guessing it is possible. I'm not the most technically gifted when it comes to podcasts. I don't really understand how you do them and where the best place is to upload them, where the best place is to advertise them, how people can watch them, that kind of thing. So if anyone knows anything about podcasts and how I can possibly do that, the next time we do a live stream, I will most certainly upload it to some place where podcasts get uploaded. But let me know in the comments below if you're an expert on podcasts, and you can tell me how to do it. Wayne Russell says, great video as always, Tim. I finally subscribed after watching many. Thank you very much, Wayne. I do appreciate that, my friend. But man, why did it take you so long to subscribe? I'm just kidding, man. But I see it all the time in my analytics. It's like 65%, I think, that watch my videos aren't subscribed to the channel. And obviously, anyone out there that's watching that doesn't subscribe, that's watching this video, I would really appreciate it if you would subscribe. It would help me out a lot, and it would help this channel grow and all those kind of good things. So if you're not subscribed already, make sure you hit that subscribe. Wayne says, I've been collecting Star Wars action figures for over 25 years now and don't have a problem about them re-releasing figures, as I have missed a few. But what if Hasbro were to put a capital R on the card back numbers to say it's a re-release instead of a sticker? Do you think this would be a good idea? So if we take Darth Sidious as an example, I think you're onto something there, Wayne. This one's VC79. So if they were to re-release this figure, they could do VC79R. I'm not really sure what you're saying about a sticker. I haven't seen anything on the reissue figures to suggest that it is a reissue. I'm just going to try and get one of the packages now. This was Han Solo. This was the reissue. Let's see if it has anything on the back, any type of sticker. I'm not sure it does. It obviously just has a different back to the original VC50. That's how you could probably tell the difference. But I think you might be onto something there. Have VC79 and then an R. I think the only problem with that is it's still a variant, isn't it? The collectors out there are still like, well, now I need VC79R to go in my collection. So I don't think Hasbro can win either way they do this particularly. There's people out there that are concerned about their value of their figures. That doesn't really concern me too much. But obviously, if I was to go out and spend £150 on a Ahsoka Tano and then 2 months later Hasbro released it as a reissue, then I'd probably be a bit annoyed. But at the same time, I do think that, as you say, you missed out on a few figures, and that might not have been through your own fault. You might have been having other things to pay for in your life and things like that. These sorts of things get in the way, and I think you should have a chance to be able to pick up that figure as well later on down in the line. So it's a two-way street. Darth Rock 1 says, great series, Tim, keep it up. As a Black Series collector and YouTuber, what's your favourite Black Series figure? So I think I've said this on a previous video, but I don't mind saying it again, because my favourite Black Series figure is this guy here, the Gamorrean Guard. I absolutely love it. I love the articulation on the mouth and the way you can make him look like he's snarling or whatever, or he's in attack mode. I just think it's a great looking figure, all round decent figure. And possibly one of the ones that actually got me into collecting the Black Series, although I'm not a massive collector of them. I might have to become an inbox collector of those now with the new boxes, saying that, because I've never really been a fan of the red and black ones. But in terms of a figure out of the packet, I love the Gamorrean Guard. It's a great figure. Dark Vader 11 says, I do not know if anyone's asked this, but how many vintage collections do you have? So out of the 165, 60, 170 we might be up to now with ones that are packed in vehicles and things like that, I would say I probably have about 145 or 150 of them. There are a few that I've left till last in terms of their value that I'm probably not going to end up picking up just purely because how much they are now. Shea Vizsla, for example. And then there's other figures that I'm just not really that bothered about and I don't really need in my collection, as it were. A good example of that is the Padme in peasant disguise. That figure for me is not really something that I massively need on my wall, especially when wall space is a premium at the moment. I am running out of space on my wall already, and I have to be a bit picky and choosy about which figures I will display. So if I own that figure, it probably wouldn't be displayed anyway, so I'm not overly bothered. So yeah, probably about 25 short of the whole collection, I would say. And that's not including foil variants and revenge cards and things like that. I'm about 25 characters short of the whole 170 odd. Cantina of Transformers says, "Hey Bossk, very nice video as always. Thank you, my friend. Now here comes my question. What would you say if Hasbro would take the Black Series Probe Droid and scale it down for the Vintage Collection?" My second question is, what figure is absolutely needed for the Vintage Collection? Hope you're staying safe and greetings from Germany. Right, so your first question about the Probe Droid. Yeah, I would absolutely love it if we had a Probe Droid in the Vintage Collection, but I don't think it would necessarily come on its own card necessarily. I think I would like it in like a playset, like a Hoth playset or something, with the Probe Droid and the cannon turret type thing, very much like they did in the vintage days. I'd love something like that. That would be pretty cool. And your second question in terms of what is absolutely needed for the Vintage Collection, the list is as long as my arm, but if I'm going to pick two very, very quickly, they're always on very high on my list, it would be Bib Fortuna. We need him for the Jabba's Palace playset, and I would always say that we need a Emperor from Return of the Jedi on the original card back. And that is definitely one that I would like to see them do. Big Biscuit says, "Do you think they will ever get the Vintage Collection Rancor like from the 80s?" So I think it's entirely possible that they would do that, possibly in 2023, which would be the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi. I think they've got a Rancor sculpt at least that they could use. I think they brought one out with the Luke Skywalker and the Gamorrean Guard set. And the way I would like them to do it is obviously put it into a vintage box and maybe just give you one character with it. Possibly the Rancor Keeper or Jiran or someone like that. That would be awesome. But it has to be in that vintage box with the Rancor on the side, just like the Kenner one from back in the day. Chris D asks, "I was wondering where you get your bases for your loose figures to stand on." So I've got various ones that I've got with figures. Obviously some of the figures from back in the day came with stands, but these ones here, they're probably fake. They've got Star Wars written on them, but they're very like the ones that you would get with the Saga Legends, I think. You used to slot that card in, but maybe they were grey when they came with those. But these came from China because I just ordered them on eBay. I ordered 100 stands. It wasn't too much money and they came pretty quick. And yeah, possibly I shouldn't be doing that in terms of buying fakes, but they're stands, aren't they? You know, it's not figures or weapons or anything like that. Tipping Top Hat says, "My question is, do you think we'll see an Emperor Palpatine figure in the Vintage Collection anytime soon?" So this is going back to the question earlier where I mentioned a figure that I think is desperately needed in the Vintage Collection. The Emperor Palpatine on that vintage card from Return of the Jedi is definitely right up there as one of the figures that we need. Will it happen anytime soon? I don't know. We're trying to put pressure on Hasbro at the moment in terms of just giving us more, and then once we've sort of hear word from them that they feel that we're not getting enough every year, then perhaps we can start pushing them on specific characters and figures. Geek Guy says, "Hey Bossk, I was wondering what you think of Palpatine's episode 9 outfit and whether or not it's worthy of a carded Vintage Collection release. Personally, I didn't like Palpatine in the newest film, but I really loved his outfit. Keep up the great work." So again, this is similar to the questions that I've just answered about Palpatine and the Emperor and what have you. And I think first and foremost, they need to give us the one from Return of the Jedi before they do anything else. And then maybe once they've given us that, then they've got the sculpt and they can just amend his outfit to fit the episode 9 outfit, which I agree with you, he did look pretty cool. And before we go, I just wanted to mention about the Slave 1, which you can see here in shot. Obviously it's so huge that it's impossible to get it into the camera. I did do a review on it a few days ago. That video is doing really well, so if you haven't watched that video, go check out my review after this video. It is a phenomenal ship. I absolutely love it, and you can just see how big it is compared to Bossk here. It's a 3.75 inch figure, and okay, the ship is slightly off the ground because it's on the stand, but it's only off the ground by maybe ½ an inch. So if you think how big this ship is, it is absolutely huge and it's highly detailed. So check out that review. Thank you very much for checking out this video. I do appreciate it. As always, don't forget to drop a like if you have enjoyed it and subscribe if you are new to the channel, and we shall see you on the next video.